Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Tyrone back with Tech Life and competition. I just love it. I love competition, and I love when others speak about others, and it's all competitive. Just a competitive nature. That's where I come from. I just love the competition. I love sports, played sports. I just love it. So, another great article from Mike Dano over at Light Reading. I will leave it in the description down below. Revisiting the 5G debate between Verizon C-band and T-Mobile's 2.5. So, if you guys remember, last year there was a debate that T-Mobile said your C-band is not going to reach further than ours. And during the analyst day, they displayed a graph, and it says, to our belief, to our estimates, you will need an additional 1.5 times sites to make, in terms of the penetration, to make your C-band useful. In other words, that's what T-Mobile was presenting. And then Verizon said, no, we believe that we have higher power output or power limits on the C-band. It's cleaner spectrum. Ours will go further than your 2.5. And it kind of went back and forth. So now that it's on air, we're going to start seeing third-party firms test this and put out their reports. And a lot of them are saying early on, like, hey, wait a minute, it's a very moot point. There's not a lot of difference at all. And it's especially in these dense environments. Verizon is dense too. So there's not a lot of difference. In fact, some of them are saying that they are starting to see better throughput and penetration from the C-band spectrum, which is what Verizon was stating when they fought back to T-Mobile and said, no, our C-band is going to reach further than your 2.5. That's what they were stating. And we're starting to see that from the third-party testing firms. So, and of course, that testing will continue throughout the year. And then, of course, there will be more C-band going up on sites for people to test the range on, especially in the rural environment. I think that's where the suburban rural environment is where I think it's going to matter the most, because that's where the signal has to stretch. In the urban core, there's no need to stretch. I mean, New York City, you have, 3-4 sites on one block. So there's no need for that really to be a problem. But I told you guys in previous videos, I've had discussions with engineers, and when they told me that C-band has a similar propagation loss as AWS-3 indoors, that's when I knew. I was like, you don't have to tell me no more. I understand. I get it. So that means it's going to be good. So I've already had people send me messages saying at 3 miles or, between 2 to 3 miles, they're getting C-band indoors. No problem. Now, of course, in this case, any further uplink is going to be the limitation, but that's also the same for T-Mobile. I've seen people send me screenshots of cell edge performance on 2.5, and this is like really deep indoors. They're much further away from the site, and they're getting 100 megabits on the downlink still, but then the uplink is shot. It's like 2 megabits a second. So uplink is going to be the limitation for both, and I think to make the uplink usable at that distance, it will require further densification. But I have yet to hear any carrier pursue further densification because of uplink. Now, that may change. I don't know. I know uplink is important, but I have yet to hear about that. In most cases, it's always downlink that requires the additional densification. Most of the times, you can tell that there's congestion going on when your uplink is faster than your downlink. That's when you see, okay, this is congested. But I do think personally uplink is important because of FaceTime, uploading, all that good stuff. But in this case, with the higher frequencies, uplink for both Verizon and T-Mobile will be the limitations moving forward. Now, again, that's already with Verizon aggregating N5 with N77. They're doing that. You can aggregate low band and mid band, even with DSS. That is a capability. And T-Mobile is going to start doing the same on standalone. They're going to start aggregating the low band with the mid band. So that's going to extend the reach of N41. But again, the uplink is going to be the limitation here in both cases. So I will leave this article in the description down below. Again, there's some graphs there. This is from last year's Analyst Day, the one that you see here. This is where T-Mobile stated that this C-band would require 0.5 times more sites than 2.5 and 2 times more sites than AWS and PCS. I think they stretched it a bit. Maybe in the rural environment, that could be the case, but that's where you can really stretch that signal and you can really turn that power up. So I'm already seeing people saying that that's not going to be the case, especially now as they aggregate low band. It'll have the same effect as T-Mobile's 2.5. When T-Mobile says you aggregate with low band, you can stretch 2.5 30 more percent. You can do the same with C-band. So that's not going to be too much of a problem moving forward. So I think this is going to kind of be forgotten about here in the future because it's not going to be much of a problem. You know, some publications are going to revisit this because more testing is going to come out, but the range to me is not going to be a problem for either T-Mobile or Verizon, and especially not as bad as T-Mobile made it sound, because T-Mobile also bought $9 billion worth of C-band. If C-band was that bad and penetration was that big of an issue, T-Mobile wouldn't have bought any. So just keep that in mind. So make sure you guys stay tuned to the channel. Make sure you like, share, subscribe to the channel for more updates, interactions. Also follow the social media outlets. This is Tyrone with Tech Life, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.